Just so we're clear, y'all do realize that Michael Part 2 will not be a happy movie, right? And I really hope y'all know Michael the way you claim you do, because if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you might be in for a very rude awakening. Because I hate to be the one to break it to you, but all the happy is done. We've seen all the joy there is to offer. The only way Part 2 can retain a little bit of the whimsy that the first one had is if they go back and fill in the gaps between his victory tour exit and the bad tour where they left us off at. But if they pick up straight from the end,
you can kiss all the whimsy goodbye.
the first movie covered 1966 to 1988, roughly 22 years, despite them missing like 4 years plus the other few events. That only gives us 21 more years to cover until 2009. And even with those 21 years that we have left, the unfortunate part is most of that is only going to be in the 90s, because in the 2000s, there was really only 4 major things that happened. The Invincible era, the second wave of allegations and court trials, the This Is It tour announcement, and June 25th. And just in case you haven't noticed, 3 of those 4 things are absolutely fucking depressing. Because if we look at 1988 when the movie ended, Michael only had about 4 years of peace after that. We got Moonwalker in 1988, the same year the movie ended. The Bad era officially ended in 89 when the tour was complete. 1990 was pretty quiet, not much to talk about. Then of course you got 1991 when Dangerous came out. Then you got the Dangerous tour that kicked off in 92. Then in 93, shit goes downhill. And as we all know, they already tried to tackle that in the first movie, but legally had to remove it. And I hate to break it to you, but this was the last album that Michael was even happy on, because 4 years later in 95, he gave us History. And this is the album that people call Michael's angry album. There was literally hardly any joy on this album at all. As a matter of fact, looking at this track list, there's actually not a single happy song on this damn album. And this ain't even really an album, so I don't even think they're going to include this in the movie. The only thing from this album that they might include is the Ghost video. Now that I think about it, I did say that in the 2000s, there were only 4 major things that happened. 3 of those 4 things were pretty fucked up. Now that I think about it, this is kind of fucked up too, because unfortunately, you can't even talk about Invincible without talking about his battle with Sony. And honestly, Michael Part 2 low-key has a lot more riding on it than the first one, because let's be honest, the first movie was carried by Jafar's performance, Coleman Domingo's performance, the music, and the concert highlights. Not to mention, with the first movie, one of the biggest questions was, can Jafar do this? Can he act? Can he dance? Does he have the voice? All of those questions have already been answered. So unfortunately, Jafar's performance also will not be able to carry this movie again, because we've already seen it. So unfortunately, Michael Part 2 is going to have to be carried by straight storytelling and narrative. That script is going to have to be strong. I'm just saying, I know we all excited about the second Michael movie coming out, but unfortunately, the first movie ended us off right before shit got real. So if you was happy with the first movie and you cried tears of joy, don't get used to it, because the second one is going to make you cry. But it ain't going to be joy though, and you might definitely need a mental health day from work after this one.